Yashovardhan Azad, former IPS officer, joins us. Ajai Kumar Singh, former DGP Karnataka with us. A.L. Banerjee is former DGP of Uttar Pradesh. And Shashi Kant is a former police officer from Punjab. Appreciate all of you joining us. I want to ask you all, do you see the police caught in a political crossfire at the moment? Shashi Kantji, why don't you start? Do you believe that the police is caught in the crossfire? Are they being used as instruments by the political masters in state after state?
My one sentence reply, yes, 100%, and that's one of the most unfortunate developments that can be there.
But can I do a follow-up to that, Shashi Kantji? Hasn't that always been the case? Didn't Indira Gandhi during the emergency years, for example, use the police? Or is it that after 2014 it's become more brazen? Can we only blame this on the Modi regime? It's always been used. I can go back to Tamil Nadu. You remember how Jayalalitha sent the police at 2 a.m. to lift Karunanidhi bodily?
Yes, it was always there, unfortunately, and day by day is just increasing. There have been so many commissions which have made various recommendations. There have been so many court verdicts, but unfortunately nothing appears to be nobody has taken any cognizance of these developments, and situation becomes worse day by day. Yes, it was always there, and I fear, it will always be there.
It will always be there. That is a very, very chilling statement you're making.
Very chilling, most chilling statement that I've ever made in my life.
You're saying it cannot be broken. This police politician nexus cannot be broken. Police cannot be independent.
Yes, that's what it is. Because till now, what's police? Basically, it's just a strong arm of the state administration. And you know, because I have been a cop and I have I'm a rebel cop, I'll call myself. I have seen these things, how we have been utilized, and absolutely willingly. I'll just give you one instance. When we were in the NPA, National Police Academy, when a very senior police officer had come there to address us, one of our colleagues had asked a chilling question. Sir, tell us why why officers lose 2 vertebrae with each promotion, and by the time they are right at the top, they are just nothing but the snails moving around here and there on the feet of politicians.
Police officers lose 2 vertebrae with every promotion. By the time they reach the top, they are spineless. Those are very strong words that you are using there. I want to take those words to Ajai Kumar in Karnataka. You agree with that? That the problem is that the police is more ready to crawl when only asked to bend? What we've seen in Maharashtra, Punjab, Assam?
Yeah, everywhere, that is true. But to say that everybody has lost the spine, I won't say that. I won't say, because there have been officers I have seen in my service, and with humbly I can say, when I was DG of Police Karnataka, when I was Commissioner of Police Karnataka, no, we had our spine right there, and we worked independently, we worked impartially, and we permitted to do so. But why? There's many answers to that, or many dimensions to that. Why? But it was possible. And I think even now it is possible. Can
I suppress you to say this, that let's say whether it's the case of Jignesh Mevani, Assam police going at midnight and taking him to from Gujarat to Kokrajhar, whether it's the case of the Rana couple charged with sedition, or in the case of Tejinder Singh Bagga, he's picked up by the Punjab police from Delhi allegedly without proper court procedures. If I was the DG of the state or the person in charge, what can I tell my political boss who says, isko arrest karna hai, I want him to be arrested?
I would say the police had to say, no, it cannot be done. It is illegal. They must say that. But problem is, you see, it's a wider question also. It's not only police, the whole bureaucracy has collapsed. That also we have to keep in mind, that to expect only police to show guts is rather impractical, because nobody is showing. We are getting such uneven judgments even in the similar issues. So that is the background which we must keep in mind. But even then, I will say, you see, one of the problems is that the government servants, including police officers who are all public servants, they consider themselves as agent of government, whereas they are government of law. And because they consider themselves an agent of government, it very quickly degenerates into allegiance to the political party in power. That's what's happening all over the country.
Very important point, and you're saying it plainly. I'm glad to see police officers, when they retire, in particular, they speak very plainly. I know, though, Mr. Ajay Kumar, even when you are in service, you are known to speak plainly.
Yes.
But Yashovardhan Azad, you want to take that forward? Here we are being told that the police today in this country, IPS officers see themselves as agents of the government, not of the people, not of the constitution. I mean, what does that say?
I agree with Mr. Ajay Singh. Spineless chief secretaries and spineless home secretaries have only aided this process of complete, submission of the bureaucracy and the police to the political dispensation.
No, you're blaming the IS officers. 1 minute. Are you blaming the IS officers, or, for what is happening to the police?
Of course. The IS officers, the Home Secretary controls the entire IPS administration and management and doesn't do anything. The Chief Secretary is supposed to be the chief of bureaucracy in the land, including the police. He doesn't utter a word. And therefore,
what about the DGP? No, 1 minute. Mr. Azad, what about the DGP of a state? Doesn't the DGP of the state have the right to tell his political boss that, sorry, this is an illegal arrest, I can't execute it?
Absolutely. I'm not absolving the DGP of the blame. But let me tell you one thing, Rajdeep, that 30% of the officers today are absolutely honest, committed, and that is how the system survives. But they are not there in the scheme of things, and they are not kept in the scheme of things. They are transferred there and they are superseded. So there is that element which the fiber of honesty, commitment, and absolutely true serving the law, but they are not allowed any opportunity. Another thing which I want to tell you is that in all these cases that you have pointed about, whether it's Mevani, whether it's Bagga, or whether it's Navneet Rana, every government is involved in it. No political dispensation wants to allow the police or the bureaucracy to stand straight. And that's why today we are in a huge dilemma, and it's a great concern for future.
I want solutions. Sir, I'm going to stop you for a moment. Let's go to Mr. Banerjee for solutions, because I think we all accept that there is a huge problem at the moment. We accept that the police is not being allowed or chooses not to function independently in state after state, irrespective of which government. I don't think any chief minister or even those sitting in the central leadership can honestly claim that they are not misusing their power. So, Mr. Banerjee, give me solutions. Let's look for solutions. What's your solution, Mr. Banerjee?
Rajdeep, there are 2 or 3 things I would like to bring out. The first is that obviously after retirement, it seems that some of the vertebra get back to its space. And the people who since retired do talk about some good effects that have taken place. The second thing we should realize is that the Khaki and the Khadi Nexus, this takes place because of one particular reason. The law and order is a subject which is completely with the state. You tell me the names, and they come to below 10. You tell me the names of the chief ministers since 1952. I'm talking about the first elections. Till date, who have given the police or the law and order portfolio to somebody else. Very few, and still keep something of that. So the point is that we are headed for balkanization. You have Assam versus Nagaland recently. You have had in the past India...
Assam versus Mizoram.
Assam versus Mizoram, I'm very sorry, the Kachar area. On the Mulla Periyar Dam, both the sides, they posted their policemen just within shot of each other. They could have, in fact, they were taken down if they were made into an army. All the states trying to get all the powers of the police and not permitting the CBI to function. There are 9 states today which do not have the general permission of the CBI investigations. So we are moving towards smaller states, smaller
That's because, sir, Mr. Banerjee, with due regard, that's because of the trust deficit. The state governments believe that the CBI is being used to settle scores, and opposition parties within states believe that the CID and the crime branch is used to settle scores. My point is, and I come back to it. Sir, just a minute. I want solutions. Mr. Ajay Kumar, you want to go first then? on solutions. Give me solutions.
Solutions, I can give you solutions.
I'll come one by one. Okay, Mr. Banerjee, why don't you give us the first solution?
Okay. The first solution is that there have been a large number of police reports. One of them is the Dharamveera Commission police report, and the second is some directions given by the Supreme Court of India. Implement them fully, implement them forcefully, and implement them thoroughly.
Sir, we have been saying, sir, with due regard, the Prakash Singh case is 2008 Supreme Court. We are now 2022. Every government that has come to power since then has not implemented it. So you're saying there are those reports? Sir, just a minute. Okay, just a minute, sir. Sir, just a minute. Ajay Kumarji, you want to tell me what is that one thing? Is there a silver bullet out there that can change, particularly with interstate arrests? What we've seen, Haryana police, Delhi police reporting to the centre and the BJP governments there, Punjab police reporting to AAP. Gujarat police and Assam police, both BJP working in tandem. Do you have a solution for particularly these interstate arrests?
No, of course, no, interstate arrest can be made. There's no legal bar on that, provided there are grounds, valid grounds. Interstate arrest can be made, and we have done it. There's no problem on that. Problem is misuse. The illegal arrest or arrests which are not required.
So what's the solution?
So there's no silver bullet, but there are few things. One is, you see, I have studied all these commissions, and most states claim, including Karnataka, that they've implemented most of the Dharamveera Commission recommendations. They claim that all recommendations of Prakash Singh case have been implemented. But then, I'll give an example. Karnataka has found a way even to circumvent what Supreme Court said in Prakash Singh case. They said, till you make your own law, the rule should be 2 years or whichever is earlier, retirement for DG. So some of the DGs could have 2 years. Now Karnataka has changed the Police Act, Karnataka Police Act, and made it 1 year. So they have circumvented that. So the on paper implementation of those things are there, but practically now what can Supreme Court do? The establishment board suggested by the Supreme Court, almost all states have. The DGs of the state are the chairman, and there are many other police officers. Now they are supposed to transfer effect the transfer of sub-inspectors, inspector, DYSPs, but they are not doing it. They are looking for lists to be received from the government. So on paper there is establishment board, but practically it's not happening. So what is the solution? According to me, one of the solutions could be, you see, it's again, you can say it's impractical. More and more individuals. Individuals make the organization, individuals make the society, individuals make the nation. More and more individuals who can listen to their conscience. That is the, according to me, most important question. And respond to it. And perhaps,
sir, you have sir, I must interview. You have most states now have more than one DG. You are even at the very top, because you're going in a pyramid. As you go up the pyramid, there are fewer and fewer options. Each person is playing politics. We are seeing it in Maharashtra. You've seen even the police commissioner of Mumbai, seen as the top post, recently found himself, under the scanner being charged with extortion and worse. So I'm saying even those at the top. You're saying people at the top need to set an example. Am I correct?
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Down the hierarchy there, but unless top shows some guts, I think who will follow?
Yashovardhan Azad, unless the top shows some guts. I'll tell you what one of my officer friends at the middle level in Maharashtra told me. He said, if people at the top are the ones who are engaging in these political games, what do you expect from us? What do you expect from an inspector? When an inspector knows the people on the top are allegedly making money on transfers and postings, what do I do how do I inspire and motivate my inspectors, Mr. Azad?
There are three things, Rajdeep, I think, which can save the police. First is a very solid court intervention on various arrests, on bails and on strictures, various things. Number two is the spunk of few good men, and I think there are 30% very honest and committed men in the services. And third is the society and the public which can stand up. No public even supports an honest man when he's fighting a cause, whether in the police or outside. No public man or media even raises an issue when an important man, when an important posting is announced, whether to test his qualifications or otherwise. This is an extremely important thing in a democracy where everyone's post is questioned all over the world, but in India is just taken like that. So unless we develop that kind of a culture, I don't think we are going to have any reforms. Mind you, Rajdeep, in all the states.
No, so are you saying, just a minute, are you saying, given also the kind of quality of politicians that we have, they come into power and simply believe that the police is their private militia or their private security force?
Even the quality of voters too, who elect these politicians. I think we deserve what we get. This is the kind of society we have sort of engineered. This is the kind of society which permits corruption. This is the kind of society which permits indiscipline. Where is there an appreciation for an honest man? If an honest
if the DGP shows guts, sir, I come back to it. If the DGP shows guts and says, no, I will not allow this transfer posting, Raj, to take place, what happens to the DGP?
Absolutely nothing except a transfer, and it doesn't matter. That's exactly what I'm saying. If he stands his ground, and if he said that the State Security Commission has said something, or the established mode has said something, and stand by it. But let me tell you another thing. Even the 2 years tenure in CBI has not helped. We have had the worst kind of leadership there. So actually it comes down to the spunk of a man and the spine. No matter how much you know police, you know, things, sections and all like that, is basically how you stand tall before the politicians.
Julio Ribeiro once told me that he was told to carry his resignation letter always in his pocket, or transfer letter always, be prepared for a transfer. Shashi Kant ji, do you believe that in a sense the politicians are using the transfer as a weapon? They're using promotions as a weapon. They want police officers who are pliable in the key posts. So does the buck really stop actually with the netas? It's unfair for me on this show to blame the police officers when the netas run the show.
Yeah. Just two plain statements before I come to your question. Number one, you wrongly said that police officers start speaking only once they retire. When I was the top post, I'm the person who has exposed the Punjab drug racket, and
I know.
The entire bureaucracy and politician circle, they were really they were after my life, number one. And number two, I'm very happy that you joined the pessimists club.
You
also think that there's hardly any solution.
Because I think, is the solution with political reform more than police reform?
No, political
Unless
reforms
we have
will never
political
come.
reform, we won't have police.
Political reforms will never come. I agree with Yasho. He rightly said that such time the courts don't hang one or two DGPs, sitting DGPs for their wrongdoings. Whether this case of arrest or that case of arrest, I'm talking even of the smallest possible cases.
Should I be penalizing
nothing is going to change.
Should the courts penalize police officers who follow illegal arrests? Should an illegal arrest lead to penalization?
Not every. I'm just talking about a symptom. That symptomatic thing has to be there. Like I believe in deterrence. That deterrence is very important. I think Yasho and other officers also agree to that. Once a few police officers are hanged by the courts, by the judiciary, they'll get set right. Politicians want them under their feet all the time. If you think that any commission or any judgment or anything is going to make any difference, my colleagues here have said that there have been so many commissions right from Dharamveer, and even before that, and even after that, in Prakash Singh, judgment is being flouted every day. So what we require is just some kind of deterrent action against some of the sitting police officers at the very top echelon. Only then certain things, a certain amount of fear of God will come. Yes, the God is sitting there. He'll do something.
There is a fear factor that needs to go. It needs to go in the police. It needs to go importantly in the politicians. I think we are very clear. You know, the politicians are at the root of the rot. The quality of the people who are running us are a large part of the problem. When they use the police as their private security or militia to settle scores, that's when the problems start. They need to follow the law, and then the police can say that they are at the end of the day loyal to the constitution and not to their political masters. But to summon up the guts to say that, we will need a complete reform of the system. This is only a trigger point. I hope we can carry forward these discussions. Wonderful to have 4 police officers after retirement speaking so candidly, and maybe the guts that you have shown on this program need to be transferred to those who are still in service. To thank you all very much for joining us on the Police Roundtable.